You told yourself you were just going to look. You weren't going to spend $1. You were just scrolling, just winding down, just killing time before sleep, and then your thumb moved. There it is. Order confirmed. And for one fleeting microsecond, a rush, a warm electric surge right behind your eyes. Then total silence. The rush vanishes. Something heavy, cold and sickening settles into your stomach. You flip the phone screen down onto your mattress. You stare into the dark. It happened again. You think you know why you did it. You think you were weak. You think you lacked discipline. You think if you just had a little more willpower, tomorrow would be different. That is the biggest lie in modern commerce. What you just experienced was not a character flaw. It was a neurochemical crash. Your dopamine collapsed on impact, and every single beat of that sequence, from the way your eyes traced the screen, to the color of that button, to the exact second your thumb fell, was calculated by a $1 trillion industry that understands your brain better than you do. Tonight, we are breaking into the machine. We are going to expose the hidden neuroscience that turns your stress into their revenue, the environmental traps designed to paralyze your judgment, and the quiet, wordless wounds that make buying feel like survival. Because once you see how the trap is built, you can never be caught in it the same way again. You've been told your whole life that dopamine is the molecule of pleasure, that it's what you feel when you get what you want. Neuroscience says that's wrong. Dopamine is not the chemical of reward. It is the chemical of pursuit, craving, hunting, reaching. When Stanford neuroscientist Brian Knudsen placed shoppers inside fMRI scanners, he saw something astonishing. The brain's reward succumbance didn't fire when people received their item. It exploded with activity when they were the search, the scrolling, the loading of the cart. TAT was the neurological high, and the exact instant they clicked buy, the activation collapsed. This is your brain hunting, and this is your brain possessing. The pleasure was never in the having. It was always in the chase. Your brain evolved this mechanism over 300,000 years. In an environment of constant scarcity, the hominid who craved the search survived. You are the direct descendant of ancestors who grabbed immediately and evaluated later. You inherited hunter-gatherer brain chemistry, but you were born into a world of infinite supply and single-tap checkout. And marketers know it. There used to be a natural circuit breaker in your brain. It was called the pain of paying. Brain scans reveal that paying with physical cash activates the insula, the exact neural region that processes physical pain and disgust. Handing over paper money literally a art. So fintech engineered the pain away. Credit cards muted it. One-click buttons minimized it. Apple Pay and Face ID erased it entirely. When the pain of paying becomes invisible, the prefrontal cortex goes dark, and the only thing left in the room. In 1956, an Austrian architect named Victor Gruen designed the world's first enclosed shopping mall in Minnesota. He wanted to build a European town square, a haven for civic life and community. Instead, he accidentally created a psychological weapon. Retail researchers discovered that Gruen's layout caused a sudden, distinct cognitive shift. Customers walked in with a specific list, but within 6 minutes, sensory overload overwhelmed their spatial processing. Their gaits slowed, their eyes glazed over, they forgot their list. Psychologists call it the Gruen Transfer, the exact second a rational consumer transforms into an aimless, suggestible browser. Today, the Gruen Transfer isn't just in shopping malls, it's in your pocket. Every layout choice on your screen is an engineered service escape. Slower ambient tempos, dynamic color palettes, artificial scarcity counters flashing, only 2 left, which are often generated by live code. Not actual inventory. They aren't informing you. They're triggering loss aversion, exploiting Nobel Prize-winning research proving that the fear of losing an opportunity hurts TWSC as much as the joy of gaining it. But the architecture is only the trap. It isn't the bait. The real reason you buy goes much deeper. Researchers at Columbia University exposed subjects to subtle threats to their self-esteem, a bad performance evaluation, a social rejection, a feeling of inadequacy. Immediately after, their impulse spending on luxury status items surged. They weren't buying products, they were buying repeatable. Psychologists call this compensatory consumption. When your core human needs for autonomy, competence, or belonging are wounded, your brain looks for the fastest available surrogate. And consumer culture has spent a century convincing you that identity can be delivered in a cardboard box. You weren't buying a jacket at 1 a.m. You were buying proof that you matter. You weren't buying a new gadget. You were buying a temporary shield against the quiet terror that you are falling behind. Watch what happens the morning after. Your brain wakes up to a painful contradiction. 2 thoughts that cannot coexist. I am a rational, responsible adult, and I just spent $200 on something I don't need and can't afford. Enter cognitive dissonance. To protect your ego, your brain performs psychological gymnastics. It rewrites history on the spot. I needed it for work. It was 50% off, so I actually saved money. It's an investment in my future self. You aren't lying. Your brain is literally constructing a self-protective illusion to keep your identity intact. And then comes the endowment effect. The moment that package crosses your threshold, your brain assigns it artificially inflated value simply because it belongs to you. The return box sits by your front door for 3 weeks, until it quietly migrates into the back of your closet. Let's test this right now. Think of the last thing you bought on impulse. Can you picture it? Now, where is it right now? Can you point to it? Are you using it? That pause is where the system lives. Now, look at the machinery clearly. The dopamine chase, the frictionless payment, the Gruen transfer, the compensatory soothe, the post-purchase rewrite. Every single one of these systems relies on one critical condition: your beyondness. They only work when you operate on autopilot. The moment you see the architecture, you can counter-engineer it. First, reintroduce friction. Install a mandatory 10-second pause between impulse and action. The 10 seconds is the exact duration required for your prefrontal cortex to pull metabolic energy away from your emotional amygdala. Count to 10 out loud. Ask, am I buying the object, or am I buying an escape? Second, the 72-hour rule. Never purchase an unplanned item instantly. Place it in a digital cart and close the tab for 3 full days. If the dopamine craving was artificial, it will evaporate within 24 hours. Third, make the pain visible. Re-establish physical or visual friction with your money. Use dedicated debit accounts, cash envelopes, or real-time balance alerts that force your insula to register the transaction. The goal was never to stop buying things. The goal is to stop letting multi-billion-dollar algorithms sell you synthetic answers to existential questions. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi proved that human fulfillment does not come from acquisition. It comes from deep, unbroken engagement in meaningful effort, real connection, and mastery. The dopamine from an impulse buy lasts 11 minutes. The fulfillment from genuine agency lasts a lifetime. The thumb hovers, you feel the surge, you see the trap, you recognize the trick, and this time you walk away.